Thank you for inviting and for giving me opportunity to speak to our IT community and present our ideas how we can secure and improve our future. So I will start if you don't mind. So this presentation was prepared with help of my partner Maxim Prokhorov, and I will talk about long-term ideas. We understand we are at the war state today, but still, like, we need to think about long term. So this presentation raises topic for our future, how we can be more efficient, how we can get more opportunities, and how we can rebuild our country. So a little bit about myself. I am co-founder and ex-CEO of Gelastic Platform as a Service, and also Java champion and 2 times Duke Choice Award winner. Actually, one of them because of open source. So we contributed some important code to OpenJDK. So Java is not greedy anymore. And in the past, I was one of the leading engineers in National Data Center of Ukraine. And today I'm working as CTO of Virtuoso, the global company. So Virtuoso has offices in more than 20 countries. So what is the current state of IT in Ukraine? Like, we know that war damages the Ukraine's economy, right? However, like, IT services, export of IT services keeps growing. So this is the only industry that is growing and supporting economy of Ukraine during the war. So we see like growth up to 27% based on open data bot companies that analyze data, government data, public data. So similar data we can see from National Bank of Ukraine, right? If you compare growth, export of IT services in first half of the year, of this year comparing to the previous year, we can see growth up to 23%. So great, like, IT community keeps supporting our country and economy. As Prytula said already, it's one of the biggest contributors to his foundation. However, we see some dangerous signals, and we understand we may have some troubles. For example, in June, IT export decreased by 7%. Unfortunately, right? So because it's obvious, some companies, they're afraid to request services from the country which is under the war, right? So they don't send more work, they don't request more services, and because it's very hard to predict what will happen, right? Like, so will be people drafted to army, like, will be situation even more worse in the future. So it's understandable, and we need to find a way how we can recover and fix this and recover in the future. So another problem that we noticed, it's a job market went down. We have very popular website, genie.com, which was created by Max Ishenko. It's very famous for finding experts, developers, right? And we see after the war started, job available on this website went down up to 50%. And another trend, candidates that are looking for new job increased by 50%. And moreover, recruiters and new candidates, growth of new recruiters and candidates are different. So we see new candidates are growing much faster comparing to recruiters. So all of this worries me and other people, and we want to find a solution for short term if possible, if not then mid and long term. And how we can secure our future, that's a kind of big question, right, that we want to raise. And today I want to propose something that we never discussed before inside our community, and but I believe it's time to start thinking about this. And I want to propose integrate to make a better integration of open technologies inside Ukrainian economy, and learn more about available open projects. And why actually it's important, right? Why is this open technology so important? Because in many cases, openness leads to freedom. So, for example, a very famous statement from GNU organization about freedom, right? So, value your freedom, otherwise you will lose it. So, and open source, for example, software is more about freedom than anything else, actually. And what kind of freedom I mean? So, freedom to review and analyze, freedom to modify, freedom to sell, right? So there are different vectors of freedom, and it's very aligned with with Ukrainian DNA. So we fight for our freedom today. And in general, what open technologies mean. So I will divide on four vectors. So one of them is open source software, which everyone knows, right? And but also there are open hardware, which actually mostly about the open specifications. So companies can use already developed and tested specifications and just establish factories and creation of hardware, right? But also open security is important. It's again about using open standards, and so that many people can review them and then can agree how to secure different, maybe even independent companies and modules or whatever, like, right? So, but the security, when it's open, it helps people to understand and test better different threats. But also another vector is open content. It's about videos, images, text, and so on. Today we have even artificial intelligence, right, that can generate content. So it's all about openness, ability to reuse and distribute. So let's take a look a little bit. Let's analyze what's going on the job market around the world. And so I took a report from the Linux Foundation and just want to highlight some interesting things why open technology, specifically open source software, is interesting and is in demand around the world, and what exactly is in demand today. So you can find actually this report at the link at the previous slide, but there are some highlights. So today, what hiring managers highlight, like the most important knowledge, right? Cloud and containers technologies. It's the most demanding knowledge. So if we increase number of experts inside our country that understand and how the technologies work, and if they can support these technologies and or develop new technologies based on the existing ones, it will increase interest of other companies to our experts, right? I mean, other countries to our experts. And but also Linux in general is very important because Linux mostly, like more than 90% actually server side workloads are running on top of Linux, and it's a huge number. So network technologies again, like security, artificial intelligence and machine learning are growing pretty quickly. Storage, edge computing, and web technologies. So all of these open technologies are demanding today. Like, and if you have such skills, if we can train new generation to for these skills, we will definitely have better opportunities in general for the country. So, but why actually people work for open source, right? It's not only about like nice, cool technologies to try, like, and so on, because it's about their passion. It's like a religion, I would say, right? It's like a philosophy. So because it's all about freedom, right? It's all about sharing. It's all about opportunity to learn faster and to share your work with others. So when managers hire developers today or like IT experts, what they highlight? They highlight lack of talents. You can see like 92% of hiring managers, they say there is still a lack of sufficient talent skills. So it means there is a huge gap, and we can fulfill this gap with help of our IT community, right? And also why it's important to learn open source, like because if you have a great experience how to handle open source project, how to work, how to contribute, then you can increase your personal salary actually, so you can increase your earnings, and you can get trainings for and certification you can request from your managers, and it's more likely that you will be hired if you passed some certifications and training, and managers are willing to pay for your certifications. So, and as they, again, like they reported that we see today more demand for trainings and certifications. So we're thinking how we can bring this to Ukraine as well, to establish more certification centers and training to help people to move faster through this journey. Okay, so there are additional statistics. I will not go through each of them, but there are very interesting slides. So this presentation will be available, so you can go and see more interesting statistics that will motivate you to put more efforts inside open source direction. So again, a little bit more about technologies that are in demand today: cloud, containers, Linux network, DevOps. DevOps, it's a huge. We have a huge demand on DevOps. Salaries are growing. There is a lack of experienced guys. Like so, it's very nice direction, and it's interesting work actually. What is the Linux perspective, Linux Foundation perspective on open source? So candidates with open source experience will have bigger impact on hiring decisions, right? And use of DevOps and practices in cloud are growing. There is another report from state of from open source initiative that highlight important things why people choose to work with open source, because innovations happens faster in open source direction, right? So this is one of the reasons. Another reasons, no license cost, so you can reduce cost of your infrastructure, total cost of ownership, right? You can modernize your technology stack faster, and so on. And this is the technologies they highlight. It's a Docker, Kubernetes, OpenStack, KVM, right? Ubuntu, CentOS, and so on. So, and some overall statistic, please download presentation and analyze, but I would like to highlight Kubernetes is one of the most demanding technology. I mean, knowledge in Kubernetes is one of the most demanding among DevOps engineers. And there is a hype cycle for open source software from Gartner. So we can see like containers again here, and cloud portability, storage, artificial intelligence, and so on. So pretty interesting technologies to move on. And one of the projects I would like to pay attention is called like DJI. This project was founded by a few countries, Germany, France, and Italy, I believe, at the beginning, but now it's spread across the whole Europe. So the goal of this project is to fight for sovereignty. So they want to build sovereign clouds in each country. So they want to agree on open standards and provide an ability for end customers to migrate data from one country to another one in a secure and easy way. So in some way, again, like sovereign cloud is related to freedom, right? So they want to protect their freedom. They don't want to depend on the other countries. I personally love this project, and I encourage you to take a look and analyze more how you can participate and how you can contribute, or how we can actually integrate this inside our country. Another project I would like to highlight related to open hardware, which is RISC-V, which is running on top of, under umbrella of Linux Foundation. Great initiative, right? So open architecture for hardware. So I personally like it. There is a huge potential behind it. Another one, it's open hardware and open software company, which create laptops based on open specifications, right? And one more, like open security foundation created SigStore, so it's like open security standard. But there are much more projects, honestly, guys. So many projects in Java direction, right? Like OpenJDK, for example, is open source project, and Eclipse runs a lot of them. Like Apache Foundations runs a lot of them. So there are a lot of opportunities in open source direction. So, but what is the state of open source initiatives in Europe today? So, as we see, European countries started to introduce some policies and legal frameworks to speed up integration of open source technologies, right? There is a statistic of different initiatives by different countries from 2001, and up to date, we have more than 100 different initiatives and legal frameworks. So the difference between political initiative and legal initiative. So political initiative just gives you recommendations, while legal initiatives requires from you to implement some specific standards, like open source standards. And many countries already moving forward to open source direction, right? But in addition to public, let's say, initiatives, government initiatives, there are like private initiatives. And this map explains like how many initiatives per each country today in Europe, driven by private companies, right? And we see like there are very active countries like Germany, Spain, Latvia, right? And some countries are catching up, but almost every country has some initiative today. So what we have today in Ukraine, we actually have good progress. We actually had a good progress in digitalization and transformation, right? We got a new team which introduced like DSCT and some other policies that helping us to get to the next stage. And I appreciate their work, and I hope we can it will be a huge success. However, today there is no like official policy, and there are very few initiatives around open source software adoption, right, or open hardware adoption. And I believe it's quite a problem, and we need to start thinking about this now. So because it takes time to educate people to adopt these technologies, right? So it will not happen over the night. So, and by this session, again, like I want to raise this topic and invite many people to unite efforts and collaborate around this initiative. So what is our vision? We want to make Ukraine as a country, we want to see Ukraine as a country which is based on open technologies. So what actually it means? Supporting and promoting development of open source software and hardware inside Ukraine. So it's not easy actually, guys, because some people don't understand how to make money in open source, right? We need to educate like what kind of business models exist in open source direction, right? So, but again, like there are so big successful companies, we can learn from them and maybe replicate or even find our own way to success in open source, right? So also making all government data and information available online in open formats. Because of this, actually, we can see how IT export of IT services is growing, right? Because if this data is closed, we don't see like what is the progress like. It's hard to define KPIs. It's hard to define progress, right? It's hard to find issues actually without available data. So this is the reason why we want to like encourage government to publish more data and provide ability to collect the data and analyze the data. but also working with private sector and promote use of open source technologies. It's important direction because, you know, like people used to use some closed source solution, let's say proprietary solutions. They have relations, and but I believe again, like it's better for private sector because it will reduce total cost of ownership. You will have more options to choose because open source provides different solutions for one direction, while very often if you use proprietary solution, you are locked in, and it's hard to migrate from the solution to anything else. And actually, use of open technologies inside public sector is important as well. So we will reduce level of corruption, right? We will increase transparency and many other benefits. But for this, we need to start encouraging the use of open standards and open technologies in education and research, because everything starts from young people, right? So we need to think about our young generation and how to help them to navigate the future. And but also we need to cultivate a culture of openness and collaboration among Ukrainian citizens, right? It's not about again a competition, like, because we have famous statement like 2 houses and 3 Getmans, like, right? So, I mean, three managers. We need to stop this. Like, we need to find a way to collaborate, even if we at some points we are competing. Like, but there is nothing to compete when we talk about freedom and future of our country. So that's in short, and we must defend our freedom. If we want to see a bright future, if we want to keep our freedom, we must be prepared to defend this. And this session actually is a call to action to unite our efforts around open technologies, and let's defend our future. Let's improve our future together. And please send your proposals, send your ideas, how you can help, and or if you need any help. And yeah, that's the initiation and manifestation of use of open technologies in Ukraine. So thank you so much, guys. If you have more questions, please feel free to reach me out at Twitter or any other public social media. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. By the way, I wanted to highlight, like, so I wanted to highlight, we were collaborating with Fond of Prytula. We donated 2 times, actually, right? So one time we just donated, and so, I mean, did not do anything in together. But second time we donated and we did a project together in Zhytomyr. We built bomb shelter for kids. So, and another helped another organization that assist children without parents, let's say. So our donation was focused on humanitarian direction. So Fond of Prytula, if you're again like afraid, if some companies abroad afraid to donate for, you know, for military, you can donate for humanitarian needs. It's proved, we did it. This fund is trusted. So please assist our country to overcome this difficult time.
Thank you very much, Ruslan, for your talk. And I guess, I mean, the open technologies and open data are very important indeed, and very powerful, actually. And I really think that we can use that that technology is more heavily in Ukraine. So thank you very much for this keynote talk,
I'm pretty
and
sure.
thanks for joining
I'm pretty
us.
sure. Thank you, Oleg, for this opportunity.
Thank you,
for
Ruslan.
giving this opportunity. Slava Ukraini.